And I suppose you can see from, saying about your mother's reaction, you can see one of the reasons that attracted Morris himself here in the first place, because it's not just it's away from London. There is a very particular feel to the village and the house, isn't there?
Oh, definitely, yes. So it is the earthly paradise in a way as well. It belongs so much to his own imagination. He wrote these great long cycle poems, the earthly paradise poems, about wanderers coming to a wonderful place. They never actually found the city they were looking for, but they found something else, and I think that's what Morris found, except he had to go perhaps a long way to it, coming first of all to Kelmscott with Rossetti, and then the complications, personal complications there, and seemingly having to go to Iceland. It was a long way to come back to Kelmscott 3 years later, something, I think that was his long journey to it. And I don't think it really probably found peace until Rossetti had left in 1874 or whatever. And that's when I think this whole paradise aspect took on a new element in his work. Because he starts writing those wonderful romances. And they're all filled with, the Upmeads in Dwell at the World's End is Kelmscott Manor. And the story is about immortality as well, which is a fascinating subject, because he writes about it. He writes about it twice, 2 books, The Glittering Plain and the Dwell at the World's End. In The Glittering Plain, the hero goes to this wonderful place, the land of living men, where immortality is possible, but he rejects it and comes back to the real world. And The Well at the World's End, it's the other way around. It's a nice twist on the same sort of theme again, where Ralph accepts drinking from the well and gaining a little bit of immortality over a longer stretch of life. I think the poetry went through its major phase in his lifetime, but the romances, I think, were just part of that period, and nobody really picked up on them. And I think they're still waiting to be examined and looked at more closely and be considered more seriously, perhaps.
So there will be a blossoming of
I'm sure, because you only have to look at all the various people who are interested in Iceland at the same time as Morris is. His translations are so influential at that time. All the Icelandic Sagas are translated between 1860 and the turn of the 1900, and his work is central to that. It's right in the middle, the late 1860s through to the mid 1870s. There's only 2 or 3 other major figures at that time. George Dasent, Collingwood, who again was Ruskin's secretary, was again a saga person. Sabine Baring-Gould was another saga person. All these people visited Iceland, including Rider Haggard, who wrote a wonderful story called Eric Bright Eyes, which is a retelling of a saga, which apparently only a few years ago was retranslated into Icelandic, which I thought was fascinating. But I think that they've all kind of dropped out a little bit, and I think that whole period is waiting to be rediscovered.